Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor the life and legacy of a former colleague and, more importantly, a friend. Dino Dominic Falaschetti, or Dr. Dino as he was known to many of us, was born in Chicago Heights, Illinois. In high school, Dino was a standout golfer, and then in college he became a standout cyclist. That became a lifelong passion. To his friends, he was always the smartest and best-dressed guy we knew. To say the least, Dino's academic achievements were impressive. He received a bachelor's in science and accounting from Indiana University, then an MBA in finance and economics from the University of Chicago, and then he went on to earn his PhD in economics from Washington University in St. Louis. Dr. Dino went on to work for a Fortune 100 company. He also served as a senior economist on the Council of Economic Advisors under George W. Bush and taught economics and finance at not just one, but 3 distinguished universities. He accomplished all of this before our paths first crossed in the summer of 2015. Dr. Dino, with his impeccable resume, had just been hired by former Chairman Jeb Hensarling to serve as the newly created position of Chief Economist to the House Committee on Financial Services. The chairman and myself had many discussions about the economic impacts of what was going on, and at one point, Chairman Hensarling said, "I need an economist to help us do this," and Dino was the man that he hired. I was in my 3rd term and had just been named chairman of the Monetary Policy and Trade Subcommittee. It turned out to be a match made in heaven. Although we took very different paths to get to the Financial Services Committee, we found ourselves together thinking and developing and debating the economic impact of legislation and the regulators in that space, and then going toe-to-toe with then Federal Reserve Chairwoman Janet Yellen. Throughout all of it, Dino was a consummate professional, intense and focused, but always taking time to explain complicated monetary policy to anyone, and I mean anyone, who would listen, whether it be a member of Congress or a junior staffer, but it was always done with a smile. Dino was often known to say, quote, "Economics is easy, but politics is hard," and boy, is he right. Following his stint in the People's House, Dr. Dino's career path would make one final stop, this time at the U.S. Department of Treasury. In 2019, Dino was nominated by President Trump to serve as the director of the Office of Financial Research. To no one's surprise, Dr. Dino was unanimously confirmed and served in that position until 2022. Through it all, Dr. Dino never forgot where he came from. He was devoted to his wife of 30 years, Suzanne, his dogs, his adopted hometown of Belgrade, Montana, and to others along with serving his country. I will never forget and am deeply grateful for his work on my subcommittee, highlighting much-needed reforms to our financial system that were brought about real change in, and some things that we are still debating yet today. His contributions to the Financial Services Committee and the House of Representatives will never be forgotten. Not to mention the students and colleagues with whom he taught and worked with, who will always fondly remember Dr. Dino. So, Suzanne, please know that you have been in our prayers and thoughts, and may you experience blessings and peace as you move forward. And on behalf of his friends here in the U.S. House, we celebrate Dr. Dino's legacy and look forward to the day when we will meet him again. Rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. I yield back.